Well, I do not want to waste anyone's time. I know you guys are here excited about Canva whiteboards. I know I'm very excited about Canva whiteboards. I was telling Amy earlier, I've played a little bit with it, but we haven't really used it in PD yet. So I'm excited to kind of learn a little bit more about it so I'm able to share it during some of our PDs. Amy's going to be, some of you may have recognized Amy if you were in our last training. She is back with us, and we are excited to look at these collaborative whiteboards. So Amy, it is all yours.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Tina. And thank you all for hopping into this afternoon session. Just want to take a moment and say hi again to you all in Riverside, USD. I'm Amy. I'm serving as your district's Canva learning consultant. In the past, I was an elementary educator, kind of all over, but am y'all's nearby neighbor down in San Diego, and just really excited to talk about Canva whiteboards with you this afternoon, with the main focus of getting you all into some whiteboards, playing, creating, and using some of our Canva integrated AI features within the whiteboard. So without further ado, enough about me, because I really want to get you all playing and creating in Canva. This is the technical agenda. I'm going to do super quick overview of Canva. I know a lot of you all in your district have attended trainings in the past. And then I'm going to kind of skip to this section here where I'm going to take you through some like Canva whiteboard examples and use case scenarios. And then essentially the entire rest of the time, I have a sample whiteboard where we'll all play and create together and get to test out some of these integrated features. So we will be sure to wrap up around 4:50 to make sure everybody has time for their time cards, questions, all of that good stuff. So thanks for hopping in. Remember, Canva is your one-stop shop when you're looking to create anything visual for your classroom or school community. We're going to live right here in today's session within Canva's visual suite. This is kind of like our whiteboard icon. We have these kind of arrows indicating that it's infinite space. So we're really excited to kind of get in there this afternoon and allow you to play and create. Reminder that Canva for Education is truly 100% free because we believe education is a human right, and we really want to empower everyone to create, collaborate, and communicate in the classroom and beyond. And Tina, to your point, this session today on whiteboards is a really great place to think about that and beyond part. Are you a member of your school's professional learning community? Are you helping facilitate training? Is a whiteboard potentially a place where you and your either grade level or department level colleagues could collaborate? Because remember, you're not going to run out of physical space. So again, I really want you to think about like how whiteboards might function in your workflow that may be a little bit different than just directly working with students, because there is so much cross functionality in the whiteboard Canva doc type, where again, you can use it from this dual lens perspective of you creating and kind of collaborating with other teachers and instructors, as well as thinking about, okay, how might we also be able to use whiteboards in the classrooms with our students? And when we're thinking about Canva for Education, we know that when we allow students to get in there and create, they're practicing those lifelong skills that are going to carry them beyond their K-12 learning journey. Things like teamwork, accountability, flexibility, multitasking, entrepreneurship, you name it. Canva is the place for students to be able to go in and practice. So like I mentioned, and Tina, I'll send all of you the resources at the end. I know we're recording as well, so I know it's looking like I'm skipping through a lot, but I promise I'll be going over a lot of this in kind of like a live version, but you'll have the slides from Tina as well as the recording to kind of refer back to in person. So I just wanted to kind of go over some ways that we can use whiteboards as a teacher in the classroom and then as a student, and then we'll have some time to kind of explore, create, and kind of get in there ourselves. So through the power of Canva, Let me take you on a little whiteboards journey. So here is kind of like a landing page of these whiteboard templates that our Canva for Education team has created. Now, the interesting thing about this is almost like inside info. You're not going to find these templates on the Canva homepage. So that's kind of why I wanted to give them to you first, because it's almost like a perk of coming to this training, and you can create your own copies and iterations of all of these. So we kind of have created a landing page because sometimes it's really hard to go back to slides, toggle to slide 50 something, and be able to find that link. So that's why I'm kind of just putting the link right here in the chat for you all. But I just want to truly give you some time to play. And I know I haven't really explained much, but sometimes it's just good to get in there and click and explore and see what happens. Okay, so you're going to see a few different types of whiteboarding templates here, again, on this landing page. The first one is kind of a an icebreaker template that exists in the Canva homepage, but we've kind of changed it into a 4 corners whiteboard check-in. So again, you could iterate off of this. You could make it work for your classroom, your students, your colleagues, however you may be using it. When you are on this landing page, you can click on any one of these whiteboard templates. It's going to say, hey, this template was created actually by my colleague Janice. So you'll scroll down and you're going to hit this purple button here, use template for new design. Now, you have to hit this purple button in order to get your own copy. Otherwise, you're just kind of like on a landing page here. So you'll hit that purple button. And now you have your own copy of this 4 corners icebreaker. So again, Tina, thank you for pinning that. Truly appreciate it. I just want to give you some time to go down. There is kind of this icebreaker whiteboard. You could open this school, home to school communication. I'm just going to give you all a preview here and then give you time to play. But if you're thinking, okay, I send out a weekly newsletter, rather than a family being like, hey, I missed the newsletter, or having families try to go back. However, you are disseminating information, it might be a great place to create some sort of like repository or landing page for resources for your classroom. I know both of these are newsletter and homework, but it could also just be like facts for your classroom, or expectations, or links to the family handbook, and all of that stuff just in one place. And it's the one link that everybody can go to, and it's live. So as you update this whiteboard, families would be able to continue to see this as it grows throughout the school year. I also really love this third whiteboard template. This is kind of from like what I was talking about, the teacher use case scenario. I always tell folks this example. One of the schools that I worked at, now this is a while ago, but we were an IB school and kind of like an independent school. So we created our own curriculum, and it was all in a Google Sheet, which Google Sheets are great. But to have the entire comprehensive curriculum in cells did not work for how my brain saw information. And so I was like, wow, this would have been super powerful to be able to kind of plan more visually with colleagues. Again, it's all going to be in the same place on the same page. But with Canva whiteboards, it kind of breaks up those cells and allows you to see that information just in a bit of a visual, helping you kind of process everything. So there is a team planning whiteboard. There's kind of like a reflection or a check-in question type whiteboard, a KWL chart whiteboard, whole class brainstorm. This one's also really cool. I know it looks elementary, but think about, even if you're at the middle school, high school level, how cool this would be for students to have their own copy of a Canva whiteboard, even for like scientific vocabulary, where they're putting the words in and either using the Canva element library, they can record themselves, they can write in their own definitions, they can find their own picture, their own video, and embed it right in here as their own living resource of their understanding of that scientific vocabulary. So again, I know it looks elementary, but give it some thought here on how it might be able to be applied. And then this last one is fun. It's kind of like a whiteboard that's simulating like a Instagram type of gallery walk for like projects at the end of posters, and students can upload theirs, and then other students can go in, leave fake comments and all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna stop talking. I really wanna just give you like a few minutes to play, and then we'll come back, and I promise you I'll walk through more of like how to do this. I just want to give you time to click around, explore, and get started in that way. So again, let's take about like 3 minutes. This is your time. There's no right or wrong way to spend this time here if folks have questions. Otherwise, go ahead and dive into some of these templates, and we'll come back together.
Hi. Sorry, I came a little late. How do I get here?
Oh, perfect.
It should be pinned in the chat for you, Monica. If you go to the chat and I think you scroll up to the top, it should be there as well.
It just showed up again in the chat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, okay. I see it.
And then to access any of these, you'll just click on it. A landing page will open. You just need to scroll down and say use template for new design, and then it will pop open your own copy.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course, of course. All right, we have about 1 more minute to play and explore these templates, and we'll come back together and almost start from the beginning in terms of how to get started. Just wanted to give you some time to explore. All right, so if you can find a good stopping place. Again, thanks for sticking with me. I know sometimes it works in the classroom to just let our students kind of explore first and then go back through the process of how to get there. Because sometimes we lose folks along the way. Okay, before I head on though, I do see that I have a raised hand. So go ahead and let us know what your question is and we can answer that and then go to the Canva homepage.
So, as I was exploring, I lost the template. I just was wondering, is there, because I already see like students do what I just did. I scrolled all the way to the side and then I was like, wait, where'd it go?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find it again. Is there like a way to set like boundaries or something like that?
Great question. So I was going to actually go over some of these kind of like navigating tips and tricks as well. So stick with me here. If I don't answer your question, let me know again. But some of the easier ways to kind of navigate a whiteboard, depending on if you're using a trackpad or more of like a mouse setup, there's a few things. So if you're using your trackpad, you can use, your 2 fingers to kind of zoom in and then pinch and zoom out. You can also use 2 fingers to drag across your trackpad to kind of move your view of the whiteboard. If, like you said, you ever get super far over to one side and you're like, oh my goodness, I literally don't see anything. I just see blank space right now. One of my favorite tricks is across the bottom when you have your whiteboard open in our footer is this zoom percentage button. It's kind of like towards the bottom right of the footer. If you select that zoom percentage button and hit the fit button, it will take whatever's already on that whiteboard and shrink it so it recenters you, no matter how much material there is, back to the middle. So that's like a huge one. I get lost all the time too, especially as your whiteboards grow. So that is like a huge time-saving hack right there. Obviously, you can use the zoom toggle bar to zoom in and zoom out. If you're using more of a mouse and like a keyboard setup, which, if you have like a desktop workstation, the trick for that to navigate is to hold down your space bar while you're moving your mouse. So that I'm holding that, I know you can't see me, but I'm holding my space bar and now I'm using my mouse to kind of navigate. So it does kind of depend on if you're using that trackpad on your laptop versus more of like a wireless keyboard and mouse setup situation. And for the most part, most of these templates, that I gave you, they have these little directions start here. And I know I'm zooming in quite far, but all of those tips I just showed you are already kind of embedded there. So again, helpful not only for us to refresh our memory, but also you can literally, make copies of this and then just bring it into a whiteboard you might use with your colleagues or students as well. So you don't have to recreate the wheel when it comes to those tips and tricks for navigation. So I hope I answered that question. If not, let me know in the chat and I can go back and demo anything. But let's go ahead and kind of talk about, okay, these are cool, Amy, you gave us these templates, but how would we get started? So no matter which template you've opened, remember Canva is going to save automatically as you go. So even if I lost or closed this tab by accident, it's still going to show up on my Canva homepage as a recently opened document. So let me demo that really quickly. Like, oh no, I closed the copy by accident. We all know we have 92 tabs open of my team planning Canva whiteboard. I can just open a new tab. I know I have this bookmarked. You may not, but you'll just go canva.com since you've already logged in. And once your homepage loads, you should have that team planning or whichever one you had open right here. You can click on it. And this is a little tricky. You do have to hit this arrow again to open it in a new tab. But now I'm right back to where I started. So I just like to show folks that. So no matter what you have open, if you want to keep whatever you have open in a tab, great. If you're like, this is okay, but I just want to go back to my Canva homepage, if you could hit those 3 horizontal lines in the top left, hit your home button and come to the Canva homepage with me. Remember, even if you close that tab, you're not losing that template that you just had open. It's still here on your Canva homepage. Now, I just want to show you all 2 quick ways to get started, and then we'll go into kind of more in-depth some of these whiteboard features. So from your Canva homepage, remember you're going to see that Kelly green kind of expanding rectangle here. That's our Canva whiteboard icon. So you can always from the Canva homepage just hit that circle icon here that says whiteboard, and Canva will automatically pop you open into a brand new whiteboard template that's blank. And you could still apply an existing template and find let me type it correctly, mind map. And I'd be able to kind of scroll through and select a mind map that I'd want to apply to my whiteboard. Okay, so that is one way to get started. You go to the Canva homepage, you hit that Kelly green whiteboard icon, boom, you're popped into a Canva whiteboard, and you just go to the templates tab on the left-hand side in the Canva editor and search for what you're looking for. Now, there are pros and cons to both ways. Remember, I'm showing you options, and you get to choose what works best for you. In my mind, personally, I don't really like this because I'm only seeing one option at a time as I'm kind of scrolling through on the left-hand side. Does that kind of make sense here? So I can't see as many options. For some people, they're like, Amy, this is great because I get overwhelmed with all the options. So again, you get to choose which path works well for you, but I'm going to show you the other way to kind of get started from the Canva homepage is to literally just type in what you're looking for. So if I'm typing in, I want a whiteboard and I want a mind map specific template, I'm going to type that into the Canva homepage in the search bar at the top. I'm going to make sure I select the Canva Canva templates button below. I'll hit enter. And I like this because I can kind of see multiple templates at a time, and I'm able to kind of scroll through and say, you know what, let me see if I can find the other one I had just had. Here we go. This is the same one I just had. So I'm finding the same information. I'm just going about it a different pathway. So I can click on it. When I click on this mind map, it kind of gives me a preview in a larger format. If this is kind of close to what I'm going for, but you know what? I kind of wanted more of like rounded rectangles or like circles and then more rectangles. And I don't want to create all of that from scratch. I'd rather just find a template that already has some existing structure that I can build off of. Just click on one that you think is going towards what you like, open it in this preview window, and then Canva pulls up the 25 closest to the one that you're previewing based off of some AI. So now I can be like, actually, you know what? I like this mind map. And now I like it. And I'm going to hit the purple customize this template button, and it's going to pop me into the Canva editor. So essentially 2 pathways. Start from the Canva homepage, open a blank whiteboard, go to the templates on the left and search for what you're looking for. Again, you can only really see one at a time as you scroll down, so that's the limiting factor. Or go to the Canva homepage, type in what you're looking for, and then you'll be able to see more options and kind of preview and go from there. Any questions about how to kind of find Canva whiteboarding templates from the Canva homepage and get started?
Yeah, I came a little late, I'm sorry, but do we go to canvas.com and then where do we go? Free Canva account or Canvas network? Or...
Oh, no. Sorry, I did not even, that is my fault. I did not talk about logging in at all, so I apologize.
Sorry.
Maybe
I just did, I came late, my bad.
So to log in, Tina, can you hop in? I'm thinking it's through your Google, correct?
Yeah, so you're going to log in or sign in with your Google account. So it's going to be your Riverside Unified email. And that will give you the pro version that we have access to.
Thank you for hopping in. And I truly apologize, everyone. I just got super excited and was going full force. So thank you for that reminder.
It's okay. Thank you for helping us. So do I go to canvas.com and then
You should be able in the top right to click, there's a gray login button.
log in, and then it says Canvas credentials or Canva, or it
Does
doesn't
it
say
have a
anything.
Google option?
No. It says Learn Platform, Elevate Data Sync, Mastery Connect, Student ePortfolio.
So when you go to canva.com, do you see this login button in the top right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then do you see this window pop up where it says continue with Google?
No.
Did
Mine
you-
popping up something different.
Sandra, I'm curious, are you on Canvas or Canva? Canva.
Great.
Canvas. That's
Ah.
why. Okay, good. Good catch.
Thank you, Shannon.
Teamwork. Okay,
Oh, wow.
try.
You got it.
We are better together. Thank you all so much for your help.
Canva.
And then again, canva.com, click login, and then you should be able to click this pop-up here, continue with Google, and like Tina said, logging in with your Riverside USD email. All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, y'all. So that is kind of a brief overview of how to get started Canva whiteboards. So I hope folks had some time. I know we just worked on some login stuff. Hopefully everybody's able to get in. And essentially what we're going to do now is dive into a Canva whiteboard template that I've already created for us, because I want to go into a little bit deeper when it comes to some of these editing techniques in a Canva whiteboard. So I know I've shared a lot with you. I know you've just had some time to look at different templates. I know it can all be overwhelming, but I promise you what we're about to do next is kind of each person will get their own copy of this template that I've created. And we're going to go through step by step and kind of play with it. This is going to be your copy. It will, remember, once you open something Canva, it will stay saved automatically forever and ever. So you can always come back to this. You could iterate off of it. But I just kind of want to go through how I'm going to share it with you in case folks are interested. So again, I have this template here. Let me see really quickly. Okay, it is all locked down. Okay, I'm going to go to the top right to the share drop-down menu. And I want to share this in a way so everybody here in the training gets their own copy. So we call that here at Canva a template link. So at the bottom of the share drop-down menu, I don't see template link, but that's okay. You can click this button, see all. And I'm going to create a template link here. And I'm going to hit copy and put it into the Google Meet chat for everybody. So again, if you could click on, hopefully everybody's logged in now. If you could click on this template link, it's going to say, hey, Amy created this. Again, you're going to scroll down and say use template for new design. Remember, you have to click that button in order for Canva to pop you into your own copy of this Canva whiteboard template. So again, everybody should have kind of like a 3-2-1 whiteboard template on their screen. You remember, you can play around with your zooming options. If you're using your trackpad, practice using your fingers and kind of zooming in that way. If you are using more of a mouse, you can use this zoom toggle bar, and then you can space bar and kind of grab. And we're all going to start up here. where you see kind of the stopwatch and the number 3. Okay. So for each one of these, you're going to have a couple of minutes. It's supposed to be 3, 2, 1. We'll see how we do, see how I do with timing. But the first challenge is starting in the top left with this purple rectangle. It says using at least 4 sticky notes, share ways you could use whiteboards in a classroom or with teachers during PD. Now, some of you are going to be like, Amy, easy peasy. I'm a whiteboards pro. Great. I have a challenge over here for you if you're feeling like you need more of a challenge. Okay. So in addition to those 4 sticky notes, I want you to try changing the colors of the sticky notes, the font, add stickers or reactions. If you're like, Amy, that's way too much, don't worry. I promise you we can stay here and I will set you up to be successful. So there are 2 ways in Canva to get sticky notes. The first way is to go to your Elements tab, so left-hand side, Elements. And the cool thing when we're in a Canva whiteboard is Canva is going to preload some elements that you would only really use in a whiteboard. So if I'm in a presentation and I go to Elements, sticky notes don't pop up automatically, but Canva knows we're in a whiteboard. So I could just hit one of these, sticky notes. And I might have to zoom out a little bit. And let's see if my sticky note came in somewhere else. No, it didn't. So I need to hit it again. There we go. I don't know why it didn't pop in the first time I hit it. So that's okay. I can, as you can see, sometimes your zoom toggle bar disappears. It's because of the ratio of my screen. I'm so zoomed in. So that actually has to do with your web browser settings. So if I change how zoomed in I am on my web browser, I get my zoom toggle bar back. So again, some of this is like just kind of playing around and clicking buttons, seeing what happens. So I've got this sticky note here. I'm just clicking on it to highlight it and bringing it over. One of the things that people say about our sticky notes all the time is that the font is super small, and we know. It just is what it is right now. Even if you drag and make your sticky note bigger, the font stays the same. So that's one of those quirky things. So I just like to tell folks you can put your cursor right in the sticky note, and if it's already too small, just increase the font size from here, and you should be able, interesting, it's not, there we go. Okay, so for sticky notes, how we could use it in a classroom. So exit tickets. And then I can grab another sticky note. The thing about sticky notes that I will say, because we're about to play with some things, is sometimes, especially when you're doing this with students or colleagues, less is more. So instead of putting kind of like all 3 or 4 ideas of how you could use sticky notes, or excuse me, a whiteboard in the classroom or for PD on one sticky note, I would say 1 idea per note. The reason is I'm going to show you how we can use some AI to sort sticky notes, but if you have like 3 bullet points on a sticky note, it's going to not sort so well. So 1 idea per note. Those of you who are kind of a little bit more advanced, you can click on any sticky note, and in the toolbar up above, you can see that we have kind of this color swatch here. You can easily change the color of your sticky note. We also have some fun like ombre ombre colors down here that you could turn your sticky note into like ombre colors. This is where you could also change the font. So let's do kind of like a contemporary font. And remember, you can change it across the entire design. So I could click change all. You can change your font color. So maybe I want the white font on my sticky notes, as well as bold, italic. And the other really great thing is when you go to the Elements tab here, if you scroll down, we already have preloaded kind of like whiteboard graphics. So again, I know we're each in our own copy of this whiteboard, but if we were collaborating, you could be like, oh yeah, I love that idea. And all you have to do is go to Elements and it's preloaded whiteboard graphics for you here. I apologize. I'm seeing some questions come into the chat. These are awesome. Tina, oh man, you're on it before I even see it. Yes, Tina, to the rescue, 50 people live in a whiteboard. So say you were doing a PD for a whole school and you have 85 teachers. You can also create 2 copies of the same whiteboard. Just say something like, if your birthday is, January through June, go to whiteboard A, and July through December, whiteboard B. Okay. I forgot to tell you all that the other way to get a sticky note is by hitting the letter S on your keyboard. So when I hit the letter S, I just got this yellow sticky note to appear. And I'm going to stop talking. I actually want to give you the time to play. So again, this is your challenge. We're in the top left here, this purple rectangle. At least 4 sticky notes of how you could use a whiteboard either in the classroom or with PD. Those of you also play around with changing color, changing font color, add stickers and reactions, and then we will have a little bit more time to play. So I know I said 3 minutes, but I'm unfortunately going to change my mind to 2 minutes. So go ahead and play and practice getting sticky notes. On the left-hand side, selecting Elements and then grabbing a sticky note here or hitting S on your keyboard. All right, y'all. So if you can find a good stopping place, I want to take you through how we could now sort these sticky notes. Okay, so again, I realize that you are in your own copy of a whiteboard and you put all of the sticky notes. But I want you to imagine how this might look if you're collaborating either with colleagues or within the classroom. So thank you for kind of using your imagination with me as we kind of go through this next exercise here. So you can just click and drag and highlight your 3 or 4 sticky notes. So again, all I did was click on the whiteboard kind of in the blank space, drag and highlight across these 4 sticky notes. And you're going to see up here in this toolbar, a horizontal toolbar that appears in the top left, that you can sort by a couple of different things. So you could sort by color. So say, for instance, you had your students write down things they already know about an upcoming unit in green and things they're still wondering in red, okay, sticky notes. Then you could have Canva automatically sort all the red and green sticky notes so you're not manually like sorting that out on the board. The other thing is you could sort it by name. So say you want to see what each student contributed to a group board, and you can see Amy put 4 answers for the first question, but on question 2, Amy didn't do anything, okay? So you can kind of like see and have Canva sort things by the name. You could also have it sort by reactions. Now, the limitation here with reactions is it's just the number of reactions. It's not necessarily what the reaction is, if that makes sense. So if somebody reacted and kind of gave it a smiley face or a heart, like those are reactions in and of itself. It's not necessarily be able to delineate quite yet who's reacting, which one they loved versus. So I hope that kind of makes sense talking about the limitations of these. But the one I want to show you is by topic. So I could select by topic. Canva's going to use some AI. And let me zoom in here. And it's created two kind of categories for me based on what I said. Instructional strategies and tools for using whiteboards, as well as student feedback and reflection options for using whiteboards in the classroom. So it came up with the topic kind of like categories, as well as physically sorted those stickies into said topics. Now, is this perfect? No. However, is it awesome when you have 100 different sticky notes and you don't have to start the sorting process by hand? And maybe you decide, okay, this AI was a little wonky and I'm going to conglomerate like a few of the groups together, or this group doesn't quite make sense and I need to redistribute these 3 sticky notes. But it's a great place to start, so you don't have to start it from scratch. So I just wanted to like actually give you time to practice. Again, to do this, you need to highlight which sticky notes you want Canva to sort. That's why I'm showing you that you could have sticky notes all across. Here, let me zoom out. I could have sticky notes all across this whiteboard, but you can sort multiple times by just kind of highlighting and selecting certain groups of sticky notes depending on how you've designed your whiteboard. I hope that makes sense. So a hypothetical, you have a KWL chart. You don't have to sort all the K, Ws, and Ls. You could just highlight every sticky note under K and have Canva sort that. So I hope that makes sense in terms of you have the ability to click and highlight which stickies you want sorted in the different ways. Okay, hand Tina.
All right, I have a question. So
Yes.
for, I know you have elements that are locked on your screen.
Yes.
So if my elements are not locked on my screen and I highlight everything, will it still let me sort just the sticky notes?
Great question. I think it will only here. I might have to try.
I can try it too. I just was more, I didn't know if you knew it off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head. Okay. I more lock things because I just can't stand stuff moving around.
I agree. No,
But I do think that the sorting will still only be
okay.
the sticky notes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions before we kind of move to the next challenge and talk a little bit more about some of these features? To Tina's point, again, Tina knows me. I like to be more transparent up front rather than you all find this out live with a class. So when you are locking down elements in a Canva whiteboard, if you are giving your students, hypothetically, say a small group or a whole class, and inviting them into one whiteboard, and you want them all to collaborate in one space, you have to share with them via an editable link. Now, the con to that is when students or colleagues, for that matter, come into the whiteboard you've spent so much time creating, with an editable link, that means that they can edit anything, including figuring out how to unlock items and delete them. So that is also why I gave you all a template link, because inevitably sometimes that stuff happens. So while, again, I like to just tell you the information and some of these wonky things, and then you can make the decision about what might work best. So once I tell a lot of teachers that, they're like, oh, Amy, that's not going to work for me. And I get it. But I'd still encourage you to perhaps share with students via a template link so they get their own copy and are not necessarily able to either delete things that you've locked and or edit other people's sticky notes, because again, with full editing access, if Tina was in here with me, she could click on this and change my idea, even though the sticky note still says my name. So again, I know that there's some limitations. I know there's some things that teachers really want in Canva whiteboards, and I know our team is working towards making all types of edits. But I just like to be upfront in terms of some things that I know I'm going to be asked about, and let you make the best decision for what works for you, your classroom, and your students. So thanks for bringing up that part about locking, Tina. Okay, let's move to part number 2. So again, either using your 2 fingers on your trackpad, you can kind of move to section number 2. Or you can use holding your space bar and grabbing with your mouse. Oh, I love that, Brittany. Okay, they say one thing I've done is make my template duplicate and share the duplicate so I can send them a reset quick if I notice they have unlocked or changed something. Oh my goodness, I love that. Brittany for the win. Thanks for chiming in there. Okay. So next up, I want you to use some text boxes and share questions you have about Canva. So again, we're kind of playing with some things in whiteboards, but then I'm going to show you some AI after this. So if you're like, I already know how to do text boxes, just kind of play along here. Again, you can go to the text tab on the left-hand side here and choose different types of text boxes. The shortcut is you can also hit the letter T. I know this is showing up quite small, but again, you can just really quickly change the font size and be able to put your question here. So maybe I have a question. I know we just answered this, but can you lock down all of your elements on your whiteboards so students don't? Now, pros and cons to text boxes on whiteboards. As you can see, this text box just continues to get longer and longer and longer. You could come to the side here and just grab one side and kind of make the text box shorter, because I know that becomes really tricky to try to read a one-line text box across the width of your whiteboard. You could also grab a corner, and it will make the text box change the size with the same ratio as it gets bigger and smaller. So it will also change the font size. So again, these are just very intricate details I'm just showing you so that you feel good about kind of navigating and creating your whiteboard. For those of you looking for a little bit extra, I just want to give you a moment to play with some text effects. So once you have your text box, a question about Canva, you can come up to this horizontal toolbar up above, click effects, and then I would just love for you to have a little bit of time to play with some text effects. The reason that I think that this is really powerful in a Canva whiteboard is obviously there is so much space to bring students' attention and kind of highlight for them where they need to go and what the flow is of what you want them to do in a whiteboard. Sometimes using these text effects really makes that text stand out and ensure that it's accessible for students in this kind of like massive space here. So go ahead and we'll just play for 2 minutes. If you could add at least 2 text boxes though, because we're going to do another bit of AI kind of playing with the text boxes. So again, 2 minutes on the clock. Once you have your text boxes, please play around with the text effects by clicking on the text box, highlighting it, coming up to this effects button in the horizontal toolbar up above. There's also this challenge to play with this paint roller. So I would love for you to kind of play with that, see what that does. And we'll come back together in 2 minutes. And I want to show you another way to use some AI in our whiteboards. So 2 minutes to play with text boxes, text effects. Stacy, great delineation. Yes, a text box will not have the person's name attached to it. So if you're looking to collect comments and know which students said what, I would definitely recommend the sticky note over a text box, because the sticky note can be set to have their name underneath it. Yes. And then, oh, I never started the timer, but furthermore, just again, I know folks might ask me this, so I'm just going to preemptively say it. Our file version history is not quite detailed enough to be able to see which students add which text boxes. So again, the sticky note option is a better option if you're looking to see which students added what, because our version history doesn't go into that much of a detail to show you which students typed in which or added which text boxes. Because sometimes folks are like, can you see it in the version history? And you just can't yet. But again, we know that's something teachers are looking for. Okay, I've got to add another text box myself over here. Take about 15 more seconds. We'll come back together. Okay. So the next kind of feature I wanted to show you with these text boxes is how we can use some AI to have us write a summary for everything that may be in your Canva whiteboard. So you can, oops, I forgot, everything is now unlocked. You can select, so there's a couple of things I want to show you here. First is you can select any text box, and you're going to see kind of this floating toolbar appear above. On the far left, we now have our magic write button here. And when I select that, I could have Magic Write rewrite this if I was just trying to brainstorm real quick and perhaps like my language was a little off, or I was just trying to get ideas down. I could have Canva continue writing one of my ideas and expand upon it. Could have Canva maybe shorten it and make it a little bit more succinct if it was kind of more of a brain dump idea and I need to kind of shorten it up. I could have it rewrite it. I could have it change around, be more formal, more fun. This just launched maybe 2 weeks ago, I think it was, but you can now take any text box in Canva, click on it, come up to your Magic Write pencil and have it generate a quiz off of that text. So I know I'm in a whiteboard, but remember this applies to all Canva doc types. So kind of just wanted to show you all, again, clicking on any text box and then clicking that Magic Write pencil there. But what I wanted to show you all is under this, interesting, bear with me here. There we go. Okay, this has changed a little bit. But what I wanted to show you all is essentially how Canva can use AI and write a summary of your whiteboard for you. So again, thinking about, all right, how would I actually apply this in a classroom? Maybe at the end of the lesson, you had students as the exit ticket pop in a sticky note and say one thing they're still wondering about. So obviously you could have Canva sort the sticky notes. We already talked about that. But now you could highlight all of the sticky notes and you could say something. So you could go to the resize button in the top left. I know it used to say transform to dock, but now essentially it's under resize. You scroll down, can say transform into dock, and you can just select summary. And now I could have Canva write a summary using some AI of everything that's on my Canva whiteboard. So this is talking about how I can enhance classroom engagement with whiteboards. And it kind of summarizes all of the text boxes, as well as the sticky notes into a summary. The other thing that you could potentially do, and I know I'm trying to show you all a lot in the next 7 minutes, so thank you for being willing to hop in, is you could hypothetically have Canva essentially take the information that students have left about what they are still struggling with. And let me see if I can demo this. Okay, I just wanted to make sure before I said out loud it could do what I thought it could do, but okay, all right, let me go back and show you all this. Okay, so again, the other thing that I want to show you is that depending on how you're using a whiteboard, some of these AI integrated features is instead of you sorting, instead of you synthesizing what students are leaving you in terms of information, materials, what they're still wondering, all of that good stuff, have Canva kind of help you in that workflow. So essentially what I did was I highlighted these 2 text boxes. They were questions that you may have about Canva, but think about how this could be applied either with colleagues, if you're reading a book together, or students at the end of a lesson. And I can hit shift and select both boxes if I have multiple boxes. Again, I have unlocked things, so I could go back and lock that, and now I could drag and highlight it. But what I wanted to show you is this custom prompt. So if you had 20 things that students are still wondering, you could click and drag and highlight all 20 of those. Scroll down to custom prompt and say, using this information, write a 10-minute review lesson plan to clear up student misconceptions for tomorrow. Hit enter. You could add in more information. Remember, this is only going to generate what the AI generates is only going to be as good as the prompt. So obviously, if there's a specific oh my goodness, standard, you can put the standard in there. Again, as you're kind of creating that prompt, and then it's going to go through, okay, based on what your students put as the exit ticket for things they're still wondering about today's lesson, here's a 10-minute follow-up lesson based on that, and here you go. The other thing is we now have some different options when it comes to this Magic Write creation kind of box here. In the past, you had to like go back and start over, which was awful because you lost your original prompt. Now you can hit this button to add below. So it's going to keep all of your students' questions, and it's going to add this lesson plan below. You can also now just copy it if you want to take it somewhere else. You could say more like this, or you could say this, but create a hands-on activity instead, or whatever it may be, or a partner turn and talk. And so I'm going to add below, and now I have this lesson plan based on what my students maybe said they were still not understanding, and now I'm ready to go for tomorrow to kick off my lesson. Oh goodness, we have 3 minutes. I'm going to try my best, but bear with me here. Oh, this one's super fast, but just want to show you all how cool it is. If you haven't played with our quick flow shapes, they are awesome. Okay, so we're in the third kind of like teal rectangle down at the bottom right of our whiteboard here. You're going to find shapes. They're one of our element categories. So you can go to the left-hand sidebar, select our element library. And again, because we're in a whiteboard, it kind of knows the main things you might want to use. This is really cool if you're doing like an org chart or a flow chart or a mind map. You could have your students start with the main idea in the center. So we're starting a unit on space. And you could hypothetically, now your quick flow may be turned off. So let me just show you how you find it if it is turned off. So all I did was select a shape. Again, element library on the left, scroll down to shapes, select a shape, click any shape, it will put it into the whiteboard. And then once your shape is there, you can just put your cursor in the middle. And let me make my font a little bit bigger so y'all can see. And you should be able to type. Now, if you don't see when you click on the shape, like the arrows to kind of add to the flow, all you need to do is come to the right-hand side of this floating toolbar up above, and you kind of scroll down, hit those 3 dots, and scroll down to the bottom where it says Enable Quick Flow. So from space, I could say, okay, the first thing that makes me think of is planets. I also can now say, oh, that also makes me think of other solar systems. This makes me think of gases in the atmosphere, and then so on and so forth. I can continue to add Earth. I can take any shape, and I could pick it up and move it around. Let me change my line color so this is easier for you all to see. And when I move my shape, the quick flow is going to move with it. I can change the line color by clicking on the line and changing this line color. So I could play around with all different types of color options here. You can also change around the line style in between your shapes, as well as the line weight. You can change around, okay, do you want elbowed lines or straight lines or curved lines? But as you move the shapes, the lines will still move with them no matter what type of line you've selected. But my favorite part of, or like update to lines is that, let me bring this down. Any line now, you can double click in the middle of the line and you can add text. So planets, and this makes me think of ... Earth. Okay. So it's really easy for students to kind of create their own flowchart and mind map just by kind of doing these quick flow shapes. And so this is one of my favorite parts. I know we're 1 minute over. I really tried. to stay on time today, because I know y'all need time to do time cards. But just remember, shapes are just like anything else in Canva. You can fully customize it. I could change the color of the shape around. I could have some of these fun kind of ombre colored shapes. I could add outlines to my shapes. I could even change the shape. So maybe for the planets, I want to add this kind of like star shape to it. And it's super easy to kind of customize that. You can also make your lines ombre too. So if you're kind of like thinking about like the flow from one to the next, that it was a terrible example. You can't see that on mine. Okay, let me zoom back in. But now you can see kind of how this line is ombre as well. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I know there's going to be questions. I wanted to get y'all into Canva Whiteboards and actually get to play and create today. Here if folks want to see things again or have questions. But Tina, please, please take it away so everyone also has time to get credit for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Are there any questions before we move into kick-up and time cards?
I have a
quick
question.
Okay.
Oops. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rose.
All right. I wonder, are there math tools so that they can show their work, how they're solving problems, and we can share that?
Great.
Are there any elements with math tools, like for fractions and that type of thing?
Great question. So in a whiteboard, you have a couple of options. You could hypothetically go into our elements library and search for existing math tools. Now, when I say math tools, it's just going to be a static division sign or whatever that may be. However, I have had lots of kind of higher level math teachers tell me that they are using the draw feature in a Canva whiteboard to allow students to just kind of show their work in that way. But to be honest, there is not a full kind of extensive like equation editor and that sort of thing yet. So it kind of depends on how you're looking to have students use this in a math setting. Yes, there is. So there is I misspoke. There is an equation. There is an equation app. It just has, I just want to be transparent. There are just some limitations. And so again, feel free to explore and play. But and this equation app does exist, but I also know that there's limitations as well.
All right. Thank you, Amy.
Yep. And Stacy, I think you had a question as well.
I do, but I wanted to see, you mentioned that you could turn things into quizzes, and I was wondering what format it does it on. Like, does it do it onto a form? Is it even related to Google, or how does it do it?
Great question. It becomes a quiz question embedded in Canva, in your Canva design.
Okay.
We could have a whole other session on polls and quizzes, and they just launched. So I encourage you to kind of play because honestly, we're also learning too. So I could say generate quiz. All I did was click on space, and it's telling me I don't have enough on space to generate that quiz question. So you almost need like a text box that is kind of a summary of whatever your topic is, and then I encourage you to kind of play around, but it will be a quiz question embedded into whatever Canva doc type you already have open. You can move that quiz question to something else, and then you're able within Canva to see student results, but it is not necessarily like a Google, like it will make its own separate Google form. It's all in internal within the Canva ecosystem.